Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Jeremy Jordan is stepping back into the role of Seymour in the hit revival of Little Shop of Horrors for 8 weeks only, from July 25th through September 17th. And I caught up with him here at the West Side Theater, actually in Mushnick's Flower Shop. It is great to be standing with you here in Mushnick and Sons Flower Shop.
Yes, it's my absolute pleasure.
So we were here like a year and a half ago. We sat right over there to do an interview. And you were supposed to go in like that Friday night.
No, a year and a half ago.
Wasn't a year and a half
ago? What are you
ago?
talking about? That was 2020.
Okay. How many years ago was that?
That was over 3 years. No, about 3 years ago.
Okay, so I had before.
Over 3 years ago. It
So
was
I had-
March of 2020.
I had before COVID and after COVID. So
Yeah, it was before COVID.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sat here on a Tuesday afternoon, I think.
Yeah, I know. It feels that simultaneously that it was only a year and a half ago and also 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sat here and talked about things that never happened. That eventually happened.
Yeah. So let's just look back. I mean, you're about to return to the show. How excited are you to return to this role and to this company?
Very, very excited. It was, I got to reopen the show when theater came back after the pandemic, and it was a real joy to be with this show and with that company. There are some people that are still here, and I'm getting to know the new company, but it's one of those really special pieces. It's like a perfect piece of theater, and the character of Seymour is just really wonderful and has a lot of depth to it, and because it's a comedy, it's got a great connection with the audience, and we have this tiny little theater which I think really makes everything feel really present, and yeah, I had an absolute blast doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this a role you always wanted to do? Was this on your radar, your bucket list?
Yeah, for sure. I think I thought that I was kind of like, it wasn't going to happen, and then they heard about the revival, and then they asked me to come in. So it's definitely been on one of the bucket list sort of roles, and it's not disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you open on July 25th.
July 25th, yeah, 2 weeks from when we're taping this. I don't know when it airs.
Yeah. So have you been back in rehearsal again? What's it been like getting Seymour back into your muscle memory?
Not bad. I mean, I was here a year and a half ago. Maybe that's what you were thinking about.
Yeah.
I was here a year and a half ago, and yeah, it's like putting on an old glove, and I got a couple dings in my body that weren't there last time, but otherwise, it feels good. I mean, it's funny because I'll be like, what was my choice there, and like, where did I? It's not just about where you move. That's all kind of like, the nuts and bolts of it, but the actual juice and like the actual like fun stuff, that's what's like slowly seeping back in. I was like, oh, I made this really interesting choice on this line. Oh, I was actually thinking about that when I said this line, and I remember discovering that, and I like get to rediscover it, for the first time, probably in front of an audience because I only have a few rehearsals. So it's gonna be great.
So you have like 5 rehearsals and then you have a put-in.
Yeah, gotta have the put-in. You don't always have the put-in, but you gotta try it. Yeah. So yeah, put-in is when you when all the actual, because all the rehearsals I have are with the stage management and with the the assistant director and assistant choreographer, and then the understudies come in and help put you into the character, and they play all the other roles, and then and then you do the put-in. You're like, oh, these are the people I'm doing the show with. Nice to meet you, Brad Oscar. I've not met him yet. And then you just go, and you do the costumes, and you hope it goes well, and then usually you do the show later that day, but mine's the following week. So
Nice.
Yeah.
What is it like singing this score? This is one of the most iconic scores by Ellen Mink and
it's so
Howard
fun.
Ashman.
It's so fun, and I've like come up with like a very fun and silly Seymour voice, which has made it even more fun, because it's it brings a whole other sense of character for me. It helps unlock something new that I maybe wouldn't have sort of thought of just singing these songs beforehand.
Yeah, this is such an iconic show. I mean, people come back over and over to see this show. I mean, why do you think this is such a classic musical?
Well, it just works. Like it ticks all the boxes. Like if you were to, do a musical theater sort of like how to write a perfect show, this would be a great template. It's just how all the acts fit together and how all the sort of story progresses and all the characters change and I don't know, and it's just really, really, really funny too, while at the same time being so catchy musically, and also kind of like thrilling you, in a sort of horror kind of way in moments. It's in the title for a reason, and so it really plays with all your senses, and it's one of those shows that, when it's over, you're like, that's it, I want more, and that's kind of the perfect way to leave the theater. That's how you want people to leave after they've seen your show.
Yeah.
And that's what this show does in spades.
What was it like going back into the show? Because we spoke, like you said, it was over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When you were supposed to go into the show, and then you did it, last year.
Yeah, I was in my final rehearsal before the put-in when everything got shut down. So I was like ready, and then I had to wait a year and a half, and then we did a whole rehearsal process with the whole cast, which was actually kind of great because, when I was going in the first time, I was put in, I was replacing, so I had a few rehearsals and then just thrown to the wolves. But when we came back after the pandemic, we got to have like a month, just the whole cast, and we kind of got to rebuild it all together, and it was really special.
Everybody who I've spoken to who has done this show said it's one of the best jobs they have ever had because it's the company, on stage, the people you work with, and behind the scenes. Is it the same for you?
I mean, like every day we have these weird rituals backstage. I'm sure you've heard of them. There's some where at the top of the show where we all do weird ad libs. At least when I was in the show, like right before Audrey has her moment with the plant, I have like 2 minutes off stage, and we would do like a very silly dance party. Like you just make every little moment fun, and then it goes by like that, and then sadly it's over. At least for me, it was over in a few months, and so it's very rare, and I've never actually gotten to go back into a show, not for like a real run. I went back and did the video taping of Newsies. I went back and did a concert version of Bonnie and Clyde, but I've never actually gotten to go back and do a show, having been removed from it and just getting to step back into it and live in it for a while.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a new and cool experience for me.
Because of your success on TV and film, many people will be coming to see Little Shop for the first time, seeing something live. Like, we all remember when we saw something live, like, oh my God, it's not a film, it's not TV, this is what he does live.
Yeah.
What that means to you of introducing a whole new audience to the theater.
Well, I hope that's the case. It's really special. I mean, I remember my first time seeing something when I was old enough to really understand what I was seeing live, and it totally changed the course of my life. And I think you have to play for whoever that person is, even though you'll never know them most likely and never get to understand or experience what they're experiencing again. But you had that, and knowing that someone else is out there, and just the potential of that is enough to like drive you to put 1,000% into each performance. And I've never subscribed to anything less than that, at least not for me. And I don't think anybody in this company does either, at least not in my experience. And so knowing that this is one of those shows that can really ignite something, along like when I did Newsies, it was kind of like that. That was a show that a lot of people come up to me and they say, seeing that show was what got me interested. Somebody came up to me today and said that is what got me interested in musical theater. And I was like, well, great, if I can do that and I can be a part of that, then that's never really why. It's one of those unexpected perks of the job. Like, it's not why I got into it, but it's one of the reasons why I've stayed.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite moment in the show that you do?
Oh, man, do I have a favorite moment? I mean, there's a song called Get It that's really fun to sing with the plant, where I have like a duet with the plant. The whole ending of the show, Seymour kind of like loses his cool and kind of just goes berserk. And that's really fun to do because he's been kind of this mild-mannered kind of dork for the rest of the show until he just can't take it anymore. And I don't know, there's so many great little bits and little moments. It's great. There's a couple of jokes that are my favorite parts, just because it'll stop the show because of just the laughter. And I also really love the scene at the end of Act 1 with the dentist. When I did it, I'm sure it'll be amazing with Bryce, but when I did it with Christian, it seemed like his only goal in life was to break me. And so that constant battle every performance was definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most about July 25th, your first performance back here?
With this show and with any comedy, specifically, having the live audience for the first time is so pivotal. And it takes a few to get that rhythm going. And the first time an audience has a full throat laugh at you once you've gone on stage and had the joke that landed, it's it energizes you, but also just shocks you. So I remember when I went into it the first time, we'd had a month of rehearsal, and the laughs were gone because everybody knew all the gimmicks and the jokes. If you got a laugh during rehearsal in week 3, you either changed it too much or you found something new and brilliant. But when an audience sees it for the first time, they laugh at everything, hopefully, and that's a great feeling.
Had the best time